All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, what's going on, everybody? Hope you guys are enjoying your day. So we just got done discussing the AFC. We went through all 16 teams in the conference, picked our divisional winners, picked our 3 wildcard spots, and now we got our roster for who we believe will be in the playoffs this season coming out of the AFC. Now it's time to do the same for the NFC. I'm going to be very honest, guys. This was a whole lot easier to do. The reason is because, well, the AFC this year is a war zone, and the NFC is a whole lot more easier compared to what we're seeing in the AFC. In the AFC right now, there is a legitimate argument that there's 9 to 10 teams in that conference that legitimately should be in the playoffs. Unfortunately, there's only 7 spots, so there's going to be 1 or 2 teams, potentially 3 teams that deserve to be there that's going to miss out on the playoffs because there's not enough spots for everybody. Honestly, in that conference, if you don't win your division, you're not even close to being guaranteed to make the playoffs. You could win 10 games in this conference and still miss the postseason. That could very well happen this year. So that is very tough. But with the NFC, I don't think that's the case. And it was a lot easier coming up with my predictions for the NFC compared to the AFC. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into it. Starting off with the NFC North. Might be surprising for some people, but I gotta go with the Vikings to win this division. I have a bunch of what ifs for the other 3 teams, and there is no definitive answer that these 3 teams are going to live up to the hype that's being put on them. The Lions have been slowly ascending in the positive direction. Last year, they could have made the playoffs, but Seattle won and took that spot. This year might be their time, but it's a what if. Chicago was one of the worst teams in football last year, but they've added a lot of people. They've completely retooled what they have around Justin Fields on that offense. They've added to it. They improved some aspects of their defense, but they really added weapons. Of course, the biggest weapon being DJ Moore to the receiving core. They're really bought in, and if Justin Fields has taken the next step this season, then they could be dangerous. But again, that's a huge what if, and I'm not sure how that's going to work out. And then you look at the Packers and Jordan Love, and it's the Jordan Love era, and that's a huge what if on its own. So there's a lot of what ifs in this division. But the Vikings are a talented football team. They won 13 games last year. We know what they're capable of, and they just added another receiver, I believe, by the name of Addison. So the talent is there. Kirk Cousins is one of the better quarterbacks in this league, and he doesn't get the credit he deserves for how he's played. He can get the ball to these guys, and as long as he's not turning the ball over and the defense continues to play the way they played last year, yeah, I think they can win this division. The other 3 are a bunch of what ifs, but we know what the Vikings are. Not just because they win the division doesn't mean they're going to go far in the playoffs, but that's a different conversation. We're talking about who's going to win the division. I think the Vikings will win this division. I got them at 12-5. There's nothing else to really say about the Vikings. The talent is there. The ability is there. Now, of course, it's dangerous to pick them because over the last several years, you've seen they've had a consistent chain of 1 year, they're great. Next year, they're just losing game after game that they have no reason to lose. Just losing down the stretch in overtime late in the game. It's been an up and down thing for them for a while now. Hopefully they break that chain, and in a division like this that's very confusing and a bunch of what ifs, I think that can happen. Even if they don't get a 12-5 record, I think they could still win this division, which is why I'm picking them. After that, I got the I got the Lions actually at 10-7. Like I said, I like the ascension of the Lions. 10-7 is very good, and it might be enough to get them to the playoffs. We'll have to wait and see. They were so close to making the playoffs last year because they recovered so well in the second half of the season. They started off poorly and recovered beautifully in the second half of the season because they finally got themselves they finally got a defense that was able to do their job, and that was hurting. They had a great offense in the first half of the season. Second half, that offense was still good, but that defense finally got themselves together. I got them at 10-7. They'll be fighting for a playoff spot, no question. After that, I got the Bears. I believe I got the Bears at 9-8. Yeah, I think they're going to take a step in the right direction. They're going to win a lot more games than they did last season, and they might be in the conversation for a playoff spot. I think Justin Fields is going to help them out, but again, it's a bunch of what ifs. I'm not fully sure. I just have to see it happen and see it come all together before I can sit back and fully buy into the Bears. I like what I'm seeing, but I can't just automatically put them at the top based on a potential assumption and a bunch of what ifs. So I got them at 9-8. And last but not least, I got the Packers at 7-10. I think this is going to be a great year for Jordan Love to showcase his ability and talents. I don't think the Packers are tanking. I think this is a year where they get to show what Jordan Love is capable of. Let's remember, guys, when A-Rod took over back in 2008, it wasn't all sunshine and flowers, bro. It took him a little while to get into the rhythm of, becoming that guy for the Packers. So the same thing can happen with Jordan Love. We just have to give him time. And I think this is a very great learning experience for him this year. For all we know, he could take over and all of a sudden he's that guy and the Packers win the division. It could very well happen, but I am not predicting that right now. We'll see how he develops as the season goes on. So, yeah, I got the Vikings winning the NFC North. NFC South, I think it's going to be similar to last year. The Bucs won the division last year. I'm going to pick them to win it again. Baker Mayfield with those weapons should be good enough to get them where they need to get to in the division that's not exactly great. You're going to be the Bucs 9-8. They're going to be in the playoffs with a record like that because that division right now is not great. Following them is the Saints at 8-9. In all honesty, I don't think Derek Carr is going to come change life in New Orleans, and all of a sudden they're going to turn into this major playoff team, but it'll be very interesting to see them fight for it. I would not be surprised if they somehow find a way to steal this division for the Bucs. It can happen as long as Derek Carr can stay healthy, but we have to wait and see. After that, you got the Panthers and the Falcons. Obviously, the Panthers and the Falcons, the Panthers drafting Bryce Young, the new toy for them to use, I guess. I don't even know who said that. Actually, I don't think it was said about the Panthers. It was said about some player. Either way, Young, this is his team. Rookie season, not exactly on a great team, but has some interesting pieces as they continue to build up the roster. I think this is just a year of learning and just seeing what Bryce Young can bring to the table. From there, you look to build around him. I got the Panthers at 6-11. I think he's going to have a very good rookie campaign, and this is going to be a great learning experience for him. And then Desmond Ridder, I believe, is starting quarterback for the Falcons. I'm not expecting much from the Falcons. They'll be a talented team. They'll be a fun team to watch, but I don't expect them to win a lot of games. That's kind of just where I am right now. The NFC South is arguably one of the worst divisions in football. I don't expect much from this division, but somebody's got to win it, so I picked the Bucs. It could very well be the Saints. Hell, it could end up being the Panthers or the Falcons. Last year, you saw how close it was. Anybody could have taken that damn division. It'll be much of the same this year. After that, we got the NFC East, and I don't think there's much to debate here. However, depending on how much everybody in this division has leveled up to try and match the overwhelming strength of the Eagles, it could be a situation where we see a change. Maybe the Cowboys take it. Maybe the Giants take it. I don't know. But me personally, I picked the Eagles 14-3. I think they're going to get the number one seed again. They're far too talented from top to bottom, offensively and defensively. They're far too talented. And they added a plethora of talent this year. They can't get any more better than what they've been. As long as those guys stay healthy and Jalen Hurts stays healthy and he doesn't regress, they're going to be the number one seed. Everyone already expects the Eagles to get back to the Super Bowl because of how much talent they have here. 14-3, the number one seed in the NFC. The conference will go through them. The playoffs will go through them. We'll just have to see. But I got them at 14-3. Right behind them, I got the Dallas Cowboys at 12-5. Again, despite what everyone wants to say about Dak, this is a very talented football team, and Dak's not a terrible quarterback. He's good enough to help you win a lot of games. Hell, at times he's been above average. Several times he's been above average. Would you say he's an elite quarterback? Most people would say no. But he's been pretty damn good when he needs to be. It's just the turnovers. And last year, tying for the most turnovers thrown by, or the most interceptions thrown by a quarterback is it's not a good look. Because I think he was tied with Josh Allen. They both had 15, I believe. Either way, it was not a good look for Dak last year, and he's looking to lower that. He said he's going to throw for less than 10 interceptions this year. We'll see how that works out. Either way, the Cowboys have talent all over their defense, one of the best defenses in that conference. They got talent on the offense, and Dak, again, is not a scrub. So, yeah, I think they're good enough to win a good chunk of games and make the playoffs like they did last year. Right behind them is the New York Football Giants. Again, I expect to see big things from the Giants. I wouldn't even be surprised if they end up being second in this division. Daniel Jones has weapons to throw to, and now we're going to really see what he can do. Darren Waller's going to be his go-to man for sure, but he's got weapons. The defense is still great. They still added more pieces to that defense. You expect to see the Giants right back in the position they were in last year, in the playoffs. Anything less than that will be held against this team, and people would look at Daniel Jones silly. So I have them at 11-6. And last but not least, at 9-8, I have the Washington Commanders. Now listen, in all honesty, as somebody that's from the DMV, that's been watching the Commanders my entire life, and has wanted this team to just flourish and be great, I had to be an objective person here, because like 2 years ago, back in 2021, I made a prediction that the Commanders were going to win the division with ease, because I believe that defense, well, I didn't say with ease, but I did say they were going to win the division because that defense was good enough to carry them to win, similar to what Pittsburgh does. I thought that could happen, and then the defense highly disappointed me. I'm not saying the defense is going to disappoint me now, but I cannot put all my eggs in on Sam Howell before I actually see what he can do on the football field past one game last year against the Cowboys. I want to believe in Sam Howell, but I have to wait and see. Obviously, you got a great defense here, with Washington having arguably one of the best front sevens in football. The secondary they added to it wasn't the best, but they've added to it. They got this young rookie corner. We're going to see what he's able to do, because he's going to be tested early on in the season. And yeah, that defense all around is going to be really great. Offensively, you still got weapons. You still got Terry McLaurin, who, by the way, I'm not even sure he's going to be ready for week 1. I probably have to go check in on that. But you still have Terry McLaurin. You still have Jahan Dotson. You still have Curtis Samuel. And in the backfield, you got Robinson and Gibson. You've got weapons on this team. All Sam Howell has to do is get the ball to these guys. Let your skilled players go out there and make plays. Be smart with the ball, protect the football, don't make any dumb throws. You know what I want to say. Don't make any errant throws. That's better instead of going too far with it. But yeah, don't make any crazy throws. Don't turn the ball over too much. Just play to your strengths. Take what the defense gives you and make some throws down the field here and there to our skill players. That's all I'm asking for Sam Howell. If he can do that, they'll be able to compete. And they may have a chance to make the playoffs, but I cannot, in good consciousness, pick them without me sounding biased. Every reason I want to pick the Commanders has sounded biased. I told you, man, yeah, the objective aspect of this is they got a great defense and they got weapons on offense, but any level of biases that has to be shown will be, well, Sam Howell, look at what he did in the preseason. Did you see how he performed against the Ravens in the preseason? Have you heard what's been happening in practice? I can't be biased here. So until I see more from Sam Howell, I have to give the due respect to the other teams in this division. Commanders are 9-8. I hope they're better than that. They should have made the playoffs last year, but somebody decided to play Carson Wentz against the Browns. I'll leave it at that. At some point, this team was 7-5 in the playoffs and just needed to win like 2 more games. You know what happened. It was 2 or 3 more games, but you know what happened next. Either way, if Sam Howell is competent or really good, Commanders, they're going to be up. They'll be in the playoffs. But I have to be objective, so I have them at 8-9. So like I said, I got the Eagles winning the division at 14-3. Last but not least, we got the NFC West. Again, I think this is very straightforward. The Niners find ways to win games collectively as a football team, both offensively and defensively. They've got a plethora of weapons on both sides of the ball. They've got some dominating guys on the defense. Obviously, you're still looking at Nick Bosa being there right now. They got a lot of great stuff there defensively and offensively. You're still going to have Deebo Samuel. You still got Brandon Ayuk. You still got George Kittle. You got Christian McCaffrey in the backfield. They got way too much talent. And if Brock Purdy is actually healthy and back to, throwing the way he was throwing before the injury, then yeah, they should be the team to beat in that division, and I believe they're going to win it. I actually have them at 13-4. Funny enough, I believe I picked the same records that the Eagles and Niners had last year, so I wouldn't be surprised if they pull it off again, because the Niners and Eagles are so stacked. They're loaded in that conference. So yeah, I got them winning the NFC West. After that, I got the Seahawks at 11-6. I am a buyer of stock when it comes to Geno Smith, and I think last year he earned a lot of stock from us, and I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say he's going to help this team get to the playoffs again. I don't know if they can go far, but I'm going to put my faith in Geno. He got paid. He had a great year. He balled out, and I think he's going to do the same thing this year. After that, we have the Rams at 9-8. Not much to really say about that at the end of the day. I think the Rams are looking to bounce back, but, it seems like Cooper Kupp, he's kind of been compromised. There's been some issues there regarding his recovery process or something. Either way, I'm not fully sure. You got Matthew Stafford's wife talking about how her husband doesn't he's trying to find ways to connect with these guys because he doesn't connect with them. He's on the older side and he's married, and a lot of his teammates are kind of on the younger side and single bachelors, so he's trying to find ways to relate with them and stuff. It's a whole thing. Either way, you look at the team right now, they still got talent, but you're just not sure. And with Cooper Kupp still being compromised, are you not having your number one weapon on offense is very difficult. I think the Rams will be able to try and compete for the division, but I just don't see any way they're going to win the NFC West. Unless all of a sudden Matthew Stafford comes back in rare form and just has an amazing season. Cooper Kupp, his situation isn't that serious and returns at some point. I don't know. Maybe they just completely flip it around. Who knows? So yeah, I got them at 9-8. And last but not least, I have the Arizona Cardinals at, what did I have them at? Ooh, I actually have them at 4-13. I think they're going to have the worst record in football. Listen, guys, I'm not fully sure Kyler Murray is going to play this year. We've been hearing some talks. I don't know how accurate it is, but there's been some discussions going around that the Cardinals believe Kyler's not going to be able to play this season. He's coming off of that ACL injury. They're not fully sure if he's going to play. There's been some rumors saying they're not sure he's going to be able to play, and there's been some other rumors that say they're not planning to play him. There's also been rumors going around that they want to get Caleb Williams. So you're going to have to tank to get him. You're going to need the number one overall pick to do that. So if you're the worst team in football, guess how you get that? It could be a year of tanking for the Cardinals because you're going to start off the year without Kyler out there. We don't even know when he's going to get back. So yeah, I think if there's any team that's going to have the worst record in football, it can be the Cardinals because they're already starting off on the wrong foot, and they're going to have to start these games off without their guy in Kyler Murray, at least for now. So they may be actively tanking. We'll just have to wait and see. So with that being said, we have our divisional winners. In the NFC North, we have the Minnesota Vikings. In the NFC South, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, though the Saints could steal that. Hell, anyone in that division could steal it. In the NFC East, we have the Philadelphia Eagles, and in the NFC West, we have the San Francisco 49ers. With that being said, you have your 4 divisional winners. You have to pick 3 playoff teams for the wild card spot. And what I chose this year is 3 teams that were actually there last year. I think it's going to be a run back situation. I like the Cowboys in the wild card. I like the Seahawks in the wild card, and I like the Giants in the wild card. I think it's going to be similar to that. The teams that will likely miss out, in my opinion, would be the Lions, the Rams, and the Commanders. I think those 3 teams, especially the Lions and the Commanders, those teams are going to surprise people, especially if they're able to put it together. I think it's another year where the Lions could potentially miss. But that's just from my look at things. At the end of the day, who knows? Maybe the Lions win the division, they make it or something. But I have the Lions barely missing out. Same for the Commanders, similar to what happened to both of them last season. And yeah, I think it's going to be a situation where you get 3 NFC East teams again because they may be arguably the best division in football right now. And you may end up getting a situation where Philly, the Cowboys, and the Giants all end up in the playoffs like last year. And that's how I have it predicted. So those are my playoff teams for this year. Eagles get the 1 seed. At the 2 seed, the Niners. Vikings, the 3 seed. Bucks, the 4 seed. Cowboys at the 5th seed. Seahawks at the 6th seed. And the Giants at the 7th seed. That is how it rounds up, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see how this ages. For anybody that's on a team that I said wasn't going to do well, if you got any problems with my picks, feel free to leave it in the comment section. Hell, feel free to leave your predictions for who you believe is going to win the division and who you believe is going to make the playoffs. I would love to get your input about this. Anyway, guys, I appreciate y'all stopping by. Can't wait for football to start this week. It's going to kick off with the Chiefs and the Lions. Should be fun, should be exciting, should be interesting. Cannot wait to see that go down. With that being said, that is all I've got, and I'm out of here. Peace.